There is a silence that exists between two people, a silence that isn't empty but heavy. It's the kind of silence that hums with everything that hasn't been said yet. Have you ever sat across from a woman and felt that static, that invisible pull? Most men think they know what makes a woman want them. They think it's the car, the watch, the height, or the lines they've practiced in the mirror. But the truth, the cold biological truth, is far more elegant than that. Tonight, we aren't just talking about attraction. We are dissecting the architecture of desire. We are going into the laboratory of the female mind to understand the precise chemistry of how she becomes horny. It is not a sprint. It is a slow, deliberate crawl. You see, for a man, the fire often starts in the body and moves to the mind. But for a woman, the fire starts in the brain. If you cannot capture her mind, you will never truly possess her body. Let's begin at the very first gate, the gate that most men crash into and break, the sanctuary of safety. Imagine for a moment the amygdala. It is a tiny, almond-shaped part of her brain. Its job is simple: to detect threats. When a woman meets you, her amygdala is on high alert. It is scanning your eyes, your hands, the tone of your voice. If you are too loud, too aggressive, or if you look at her like she is an object to be conquered rather than a woman to be known, that little part of her brain screams, no. And once that no is triggered, the biology of desire shuts down. The blood doesn't flow where it needs to. The hormones don't release. You are locked out. The most seductive thing a man can provide is peace. It's the way you lean back in your chair, giving her the gift of space. It's the way you look at her, not with a hungry stare, but with a gaze that says, I see you and you are safe here. When she feels safe, her nervous system shifts. It moves from fight or flight into rest and digest. This is the neutral state. This is where the magic begins. This is where she becomes receptive. Now that the gates are open, we move to the second stage, arousal. This is where the female gaze comes into play. Men often mistake what women find attractive. They think they need to look like a statue, but women are captivated by the details of masculinity. The way your veins trace a path down your forearm when you reach for a glass, the way the fabric of your shirt stretches across your shoulders, the way your hands look strong, capable, yet capable of being incredibly gentle. Research shows that women rank the back and the hands as some of the most erotic parts of a man's body. Why? Because they represent power and protection. But you must use them with plausible deniability. This is the secret language of the elite seducer. You don't just grab, you guide. When you are walking through a crowded room, don't just walk beside her. Place your hand on the small of her back, not to push her, but to let her feel your warmth. It's a functional touch, but the skin knows the difference. She feels the heat of your palm through her dress. Her brain registers the contact. It isn't creepy because you are simply guiding her. But in that moment, her pulse quickens. The adrenaline starts to mix with dopamine. The arousal isn't just physical anymore. It's an electric current running between the two of you. And then there are the eyes. Every minute of mutual eye contact increases attraction by 35%. Think about that, but don't stare like a predator. Use the triangle, look into her left eye, let it linger. Move to her right eye. Then let your gaze fall slowly to her lips, just for a heartbeat. Just let the thought of a kiss hang in the air between you. Then look back up into her eyes and smile. In that moment, you have told her exactly what you want without the clumsiness of words. You have invited her into a fantasy. But arousal is still just the surface. To truly make a woman ache for you, you must master the third and final stage, desire. Desire is a state of psychological hunger. It is when she is lying in bed at night, and the only thing she can think about is the way you looked at her. How do you create this? Through the power of cognitive dissonance. The brain hates a puzzle it can't solve. If you are always there, always available, always complimenting her, you become predictable, and predictability is the death of desire. Look at the history of the world's greatest lovers. They use the push and pull. Be the most charming man in the room. Give her your undivided attention. Make her feel like the only woman on earth. And then step away. Don't text her for a day. Be a little distant the next time you meet. Her brain will go into overdrive. Why did he change? Did I do something? Does he still want me? She will spend hours analyzing your last conversation. She will replay every touch, every look, and because she is spending so much mental energy on you, her brain will conclude that you must be incredibly important. She convinces herself that she wants you. And that, my friend, is a fire that no one can put out. The science of how a woman becomes horny isn't about tricking her. It's about understanding the beautiful complexity of her nature. It's about being the man who can provide the safety she needs to let her guard down, the arousal she needs to feel alive, and the mystery she needs to keep coming back for more. When you combine these three, safety, arousal, and desire, you don't just get a moment of intimacy, you get a woman who is completely, utterly, and intoxicatingly yours. There is a secret world that exists just beneath the surface of skin and bone, a world of chemical messengers, electrical storms, and ancient instincts. To understand the science of how a woman becomes horny is to understand the very poetry of biology. It is not a chaotic event, it is a sequence, a slow unfolding flower. If you have ever felt the frustration of a connection that wouldn't ignite, it's likely because you were trying to skip the chapters of her story. You were looking for the ending before you had even read the first page. Tonight, we go deeper. We are going to stretch time. We are going to look at the invisible threads that pull a woman toward a man until the tension becomes unbearable. The architecture of the mind. Before a single touch occurs, the brain must give permission. In the female brain, the pathway to desire is paved with neurochemicals that require a specific environment to thrive. We often speak of testosterone as the driver of lust, and while it plays its part in her body too, the true gatekeepers are oxytocin and dopamine. But there is a third player, one that most men ignore. Cortisol, the stress hormone. If her cortisol levels are high, if she is worried about her day, if she feels judged, or if she feels even the slightest bit of pressure from you, her brain's sexual inhibition system remains active. This is a biological brake pedal. No matter how much gas you give the engine, the car will not move if the brake is held down. Seduction, in its truest form, is the art of releasing that brake. It starts with the sound of your voice. The human ear is a direct line to the emotional centers of the brain. When you speak in a low, resonant frequency, what we call vocal fry or a bedroom voice, it actually vibrates within her. It signals maturity, it signals calm. When you speak slowly, you are telling her that you are not in a rush. You are telling her that her pleasure, her comfort, and her presence are worth the time. You are effectively lowering her cortisol. You are whispering to her nervous system, you are safe, you can let go now. The chemistry of the invisible now. Let's talk about the air between you. Every human carries a chemical signature. Pheromones, well, we don't think about them consciously. Her nose is constantly communicating with her hypothalamus. This is the part of the brain that governs hunger, thirst, and sex. When you are close enough to her, your natural scent mixed with the heat of your body begins to work on her. It isn't about expensive cologne, it's about the raw, masculine scent of a man who is comfortable in his own skin. Have you noticed how a woman will often steal her partner's hoodie? It isn't just for warmth, it's to wrap herself in his chemical signature. It keeps her arousal system simmering even when he isn't there. When you are with her, don't be afraid to let her get close to your neck. The heat behind your ears and at the base of your throat is where your signature is strongest. It is a silent, biological invitation. The dance of arousal. Once the mind is quiet and the scent has taken hold, we move into the realm of the tactile. The skin is the largest sensory organ we possess, but not all skin is created equal. To trigger the true arousal phase, you must understand the map of her nerves. There are areas of the body known as low-threshold mechanoreceptors. These are nerves that respond to the lightest of touches. A firm grip has its place later, but in the beginning belongs to the ghost of a touch. Imagine the back of her neck, the soft skin just behind the ear, the inner wrist. When you touch these areas with the tips of your fingers, so lightly that she almost wonders if she imagined it, you are sending a surge of electricity directly to her parietal lobe. This light touch triggers sensory gating. Her brain begins to tune out the rest of the world. The music in the room fades. The people around you disappear. The only thing that exists is the square inch of skin where you are touching her. This is where the female gaze becomes a physical sensation. She isn't just looking at your hands anymore. She is feeling the potential of them. She is imagining what those hands could do if they were less polite. And that imagination, that is where the horniness takes root. The power of the unspoken. Seduction is 10% what you do and 90% what she thinks you are going to do. This is the science of anticipatory dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical, but it actually peaks before the reward is given. It peaks during the craving. If you kiss her immediately, the spike is short. But if you lean in, if you let your lips brush against her ear, if you whisper how much you've been thinking about this moment and then you pull back, you have just created a dopamine storm in her brain by denying the immediate gratification. You are forcing her body to want it more. Her heart rate increases, her breathing becomes shallow. The blood flow to her pelvic region intensifies as her body prepares for what her mind is already screaming for. You are no longer just a man sitting with her. You are the source of her craving. The final threshold desire, now we reach the summit. When a woman is truly, deeply horny, she has moved past the need for safety. She has moved past the simple spark of arousal. She is now in a state of hunger. This is where the Duke of Lausanne's cold and warm technique becomes a masterstroke. By being the man who can provide this intense, heavy intimacy, And then, and occasionally being the man who is a mystery, you create a psychological loop. She becomes addicted to the resolution of the tension you create. She isn't just responding to you, she is chasing you. Her body is now fully synchronized with yours. The oxytocin has created a bond. The dopamine has created a drive. And the lack of cortisol has removed all her inhibitions. She is open. She is yours. The science is clear, but the application requires a soul. You cannot clinicalize desire. You must feel it. You must want her with a depth that matches the science we have discussed. A woman knows when a man is using a technique, but she also knows when a man truly understands the delicate instrument that is her body. Be the man who listens to the music of her silence. Be the man who knows that the most erotic part of her is the mind you have so carefully ignited. If you have stayed with me through this deep dive, you are already ahead of 99% of the men in the world. You understand that seduction is a craft, it is a science, and it is a gift you give to her. Don't let this knowledge sit idle. Use it to create something beautiful. Use it to bridge the gap between knowing and feeling. Subscribe to our journey. There is a world of intimacy waiting for those who know where to look. Until we meet again in the shadows of the unspoken, good night.